as you can see, highlighted in that yellow color, overall, we're watching a line of rain and storms that are moving in. So this severe thunderstorm warning continues for about another 40 minutes, goes until 11:30 p.m. Right now, 60-mile-per-hour winds and about penny-sized hail looks to be a possibility at this time. So overall, it's going to continue to track towards the east, around 50 miles per hour. So these storms are moving pretty quickly. This line of storms is moving pretty quickly as well. I wanted to get you kind of a wider look at what's going on right now. So we are now in our third round of potential storms, strong to severe storms for today. It has been quite an active day. It's a first warn weather day. So right now, this line with the cold front pushing towards our area will be through the metro by the time I think we get to about 2 o'clock this morning. But overall, this is our one severe warning right now along this line. I do think there is the possibility for these other storms that are developing to start to pick up some strong winds as well as hail. We still can't rule out an isolated tornado spin up with the activity that's on the line as well. So keep that in mind. Make sure you've got several ways to receive alerts as we go into the night tonight and into tomorrow morning, because we do have the tornado watch that is in effect until 4 a.m. So over the next couple of hours, 4 a.m. on your Saturday morning. So here's what that looks like across the area. Highlighted in orange for our southwestern areas. It continues until around midnight and then around 1 a.m. for our far southeastern counties. And I mentioned that meteorologist Nicco is here with me as well, and he will be looking at reports, tracking some too. So here's a look at some of our cameras as we look off towards the northwest. As you can see, some very ominous clouds, a lot of lightning as well. These storms are producing a lot of lightning as this line is coming through, so that means a lot of thunder as well. This is out in Lawrence looking towards the west, I believe. So a lot of lightning, a lot of thunder coming with these storms as they are along a line right now. Gusts to 60 miles an hour are possible. Some small hail as well as I mentioned, we are watching the possibility for some isolated spin-up tornadoes because they are forming into a line. So that severe thunderstorm warning continues until 10 or 11:30, I should say. Tonight, if we take a closer look, this is Johnson, Leavenworth, Platte, and Wyandotte counties. We zoom in. We are seeing some lightning with this as well. And then I want to put a track on this, as this is moving very quickly at this point, 50 miles an hour. So it's going to be pretty easy for there to be some strong winds to develop out of this because it is moving so quickly. Right now, Lawrence, of course, as we saw on those cameras, a lot of lightning right now, heavy rainfall as well. And then we are going to continue to see it move towards the east. So I'm going to take this kind of warning off so we can get a closer look at where it will be and when, because it's moving east around 50 miles an hour and it's moving pretty quickly. And I expect it to be moving into the metro as well pretty quickly. So let's get a quick track on this as we pause it. And we pull up some of our towns here. So it looks like overall in Lansing around 11:07. Keep in mind right now it is 10:55, just about. DeSoto by about 11:11, moving into the Kansas City area about 11:45-ish, so around a little less than an hour. And then Liberty around 11:53, Arrowhead right around the midnight time frame. So this is moving very quickly. And overall, 60-mile-per-hour winds and hail are the primary threats with this severe storm at this point. And as they continue to move towards the east, keep in mind some strong winds will be possible, likely on the leading edge of this, as we are seeing it form more into a line. As I mentioned, when we get lines like this, we see them more have stronger straight line winds as they kind of conglomerate all together. And then we'll continue to have that leading edge, likely have the strongest winds from the system overall, which is why winds are the primary threat as we go into the night tonight. And then we will continue to see a hail threat as well as an isolated tornado threat. I want to send it over to our meteorologist, Nicco, to see if he's got any more information for us.
Yeah, I was kind of dissecting what the winds are actually doing, and you can see right here that we're looking at a maximum velocity of about 54. Now that's within the storm, and that's why they're saying there is a potential potential for it to reach 60 miles per hour once it hits the ground and starts to fan out. We're not seeing much in the way of rotation at all right now with this. We don't see maybe a little bit right here, but that's about it. Sorry, that yellow is actually the warning that is underneath that. And haven't had any reports come in about exactly if anything has been hitting the ground from this as far as hail, but that's really hasn't been the threat. And the good thing about this particular storm is, and this line of storms, is we haven't had a single tornado warning out of this line of storms as they've been moving across central Kansas and now moving into eastern Kansas and also heading into western Missouri. So we've got time. I mean, this thing is barely moving towards Tonganoxie, East and Leavenworth. You still have time. If there's anything outside that maybe you forgot that you want to bring inside, you still have some time to do it if you live in western Wyandotte, even the eastern part of Leavenworth County here. You still have plenty of time to go out and get it and bring it in, or lock it down for that matter. So just kind of looking at the winds right now, all the winds are, the green is heading towards the radar. The radar is way over here, Pleasant Hill. And so right now, if we don't see any red next to yellow, or red next to green, which is great, because that would be the gate-to-gate shear, and that's where you would have the winds moving like this, which would help spin it up. So right now, Melissa, this is radar indicated, which is great, which means we don't. I'm sure the spotters are out in Douglas County right now. I'm sure the spotters are being activated right now if they're not already out in Wyandotte and Johnson County and points eastward. But right now we're hearing nothing from them, which is great, because that means more than likely nothing severe, that is reaching the ground. It's a gusty wind, small hail, torrential rainstorm right now.
That is right, Mike. And overall, we do have that small chance, or I should not say a small chance, there is the potential that we see some small hail out of this, penny-sized hail. So as you can see, a new update as we are having that kind of yellow boxes we've been watching flashing, a new update. So this is moving a little bit faster, picking up a little bit more speed. So now around 55 miles an hour moving towards the east. So as I mentioned, as these are moving pretty quickly, pretty easy to get some stronger gusty winds out of these. It will continue to push towards the east around 55 miles an hour. We continue in the warning for places like Bonner Springs, Leavenworth, into portions of the western side of the 435 loop up towards the airport in Platte County as we go into about 11:30. But I did want to put a new track on it because we are likely going to see it move a little bit quicker and get to certain areas. So right now it's 10:58. By around 11:09, Smithville, around 11:19 in Shawnee, starting to push into the heart of the 435 loop and into the metro as we get to around 11:15 to around 11:30. So moving through the Kansas City area now a little bit earlier, around 11:30 p.m. and then pushing out towards Independence a little bit after that, just outside of that warning time frame, which is around 11:37 p.m. in Independence. So a lot of lightning, as you're seeing on these cameras over here, tons of lightning. A lot of rainfall, heavy rainfall as well on that leading edge. And haven't seen any reports, as we had mentioned, of this, but we're going to watch that potential for 60-mile-per-hour winds and penny-sized hail. Let's take a look at this overall system right now, because we're seeing the line of storms move through. Overall, the only severe storm that is out there along this line is right here in the Kansas City metro on the western side. So right now, you can see the line all the way from southern Iowa, pushing all the way to portions of our central Kansas. They're starting to conglomerate a little bit more than we saw, I would say, probably about an hour ago, which is turning into more of a wind threat. So keep that in mind as they get more into a line. The threat for winds is what we're primarily watching. Our eastern areas have had rain and thunderstorm activity. There were some severe warnings off towards our southeastern counties. That is now moving off towards the east. So really all that's left for us after this line moves through, then we should be done. Things are much quieter once we get to our Saturday, but I wanted to pull out what it would look like as we go through the next couple of hours with our future radar. So you can kind of get a gauge on when it's going to be moving in and out of your area. So here we are. It's 11 o'clock, just about on the dot. This is going to continue to push east. By about 2 o'clock, should be pretty much moving out of the metro and then pushing off towards our eastern counties, Warrensburg, Marshall, Clinton, down to Butler. Still seeing those rain and thunderstorm activity, that potential for them to be strong to severe as well along that line. But once we get to 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, that's when that really starts to ramp down, I should say, and then be moving out of the area. So right now, this warning continues until 11:30. We'll continue to watch to see if we're seeing any reports come in. Mike, have you seen any reports?
No, not at all. Nothing. Let me check Slack again once again and just see if anybody's talking. And no, everybody's just kind of sitting and waiting because it is radar indicated, and it's only 3/4 inch size hail and winds possibly to 60. And a lot of times they're looking at the winds that are possibly 60 miles per hour because they're looking at the forward speed of the system itself.
Yeah.
And the forward speed of these storms are 50 to 55. Now there is the low level jet that's right above the surface that's moving a little bit faster. And if some of that cold air gets entrained into that low-level jet and pulls it down to the ground, that's when you could have some faster gusts. And I'm looking at the hail right now, and all the hail's 1/2 inch or smaller, whether it's McCluth or Oskaloosa, Winchester, it's all just kind of west. Between Leavenworth and Weston, there's about 1/3 of an inch size hail out of these two that are moving across the river. But you can see all the hail size is nothing really to worry about. Is it going to wake some people up if they're asleep? Yeah. Is it going to be noisy at times? Yeah, but that's not going to cause any damage. So that's some good news there. And just continuing to watch the velocities here and just kind of looking at the leading edge that's moving right along 2440 into Tonganoxie. The brighter the green, the faster it's moving. And it gave me the warning instead of the actual, let me get the warning out of there, then I'll get the actual speed at which this thing is moving. So many things to look at. So many things. All right, that's the brightest right there. And so is this picked up? All right, it's picked up. No, it hasn't picked up at all. Before we saw the fastest speeds, at least moving towards the radar, which the green is doing, we're up around 55. Now they're down to 51. So maybe that's why we're not hearing of anything on the ground yet that's cause damage or anything like that. So it is a severe thunderstorm. We still want to take it seriously. You still want to act as if this thing could be putting down larger hail or faster winds. It could cause some damage. You want to stay away from your windows. I know it's fun to take a look outside. I mean, that's how I got into this. I used to sit on the breezeway with my grandfather in Leavenworth and watch the storms come in. And so I get it, but you want to make sure you're at a safe distance when those winds come through in case they do pick up something, and just stay away from the windows. But right now, we've got that severe thunderstorm that's moving our way. The good news, it's radar indicated, which we're still waiting for some ground truth on that, Melissa.
Yeah, 60-mile-per-hour winds, penny-sized hail are what they are warned with this storm. On the leading edge, as Mike and I have been mentioning, is where we would probably see the strongest wind gusts occur with this. I did just check our current wind gusts across the area. Sometimes I like to do that, especially as the storms are starting to encroach on the Kansas City airport, because usually we'll start to see reports being picked up through the airport observations. Haven't seen that yet. Winds gusting to around 27 miles per hour, picking up a little bit more to around gusts to 33 in Paola and Ottawa and Olathe, but right now not really seeing much when we think about it moving towards the airport and possibly picking up some observations that way. But we know this storm is moving quickly. This line is moving quickly as well. You can see a lot of heavy rainfall. Hard to really see anything out of this camera. This is out of Lawrence. And Lawrence right now is kind of in the heaviest part of the rain. If we kind of take a closer look back at our radar, you can see they are seeing that kind of darker red moving towards the Lawrence area into Tonganoxie right now. So Tonganoxie, Lawrence likely seeing the heaviest rainfall out of this. Obviously, you could see a heavy rain for one off towards the camera to the right side of your screen, but also seeing a lot of lightning with this. So it's going to continue to be off towards the east, going around 50, 55 miles an hour. Now the warning is to around 11:15, so it looks like we've cut off a little bit of the warning as well. 11:15 now, and that's for Douglas and Jefferson counties. Now, on the backside of this, we should be pretty much in the clear. So once you get this line of storms, we're pretty much done. Over towards our southeastern areas right now, still getting a little bit of that rain and thunderstorm activity, but that'll move out, and then the next thing that our southeastern areas will see is that line of storms. So it looks to still hold together as we go through the next couple of hours, closer to around 2 to about 4 a.m. is when our southeastern counties could see that line moving through the area. So I wanted to see too, since they trimmed a little bit of that warning, if they've updated anything else with it. Doesn't look like that's the case. Still 60-mile-per-hour winds and hail the size of a penny. Let's see if it's still now between about 50 to 55 miles per hour is how quick it's moving. So these are going to be in and out of the metro, in and out of the area pretty quickly. Let's put a track on them because they're moving so fast, likely encroaching on some of us soon. As we take a closer look, I'm going to put a track on here now going around 50 to 55 miles per hour. So I am going to round up a little bit to give yourself a little bit more extra time of when this could be moving into your area and into your neighborhood and where you are living. So as we take it off towards the east here over the next couple of minutes or so, right now it's about 11:07. So Lansing, it's knocking on your door right now, probably starting to see some lightning off the distance, hearing some thunder as well, but shortly you should be picking up some heavy rainfall. And on the leading edge of that, still could see more of those gusty winds with it. As Mike and I had mentioned, haven't seen any confirmation of 60-mile-per-hour winds at this point, but that's what this storm is warned for, as well as penny-sized hail. If you guys are seeing anything outside your windows, or if anything you've got going on in your neighborhood that you would like to share with us, make sure to drop it in the comments on our Facebook. So that way we can answer some of those questions or be able to relay some of information that's more on the ground versus than here in the studio. So by about 11:15, because right now it's about 11:07, moving into the Bonner Springs area, Kansas City still around 11:33 or so, and then moving past Excelsior Springs closer to around 11:50, heading into Blue Springs by about 11:52. So this is moving quickly. I want to take another look to see if we've got any kind of hail indication, as I mentioned, and small hail, penny-sized hail. When we typically see a severe thunderstorm warning, typically we see more of that quarter-sized hail because that's generally one of the triggers for that. But the hail threat right now is under the severe criteria for a severe thunderstorm warning. So let's take a look to see if we've got any indications of some hail out there.
I'm seeing nothing on Facebook right now. People talking about a lot of lightning, a lot of wind. The wind is picking up. Just a lightning show in Leavenworth. Thank you, Amanda Burke. Picking up here in Belton, that is Cheyenne. Just really, everybody's like, hey, this is just kind of a normal summertime thunderstorm right now. Just happens to be very early in the season. So that's good news. And I've got the Facebook open right now. That's what I'm looking at. So continue to put in there. I think there was something about Johnson County. If you can, let's see if I can put a track on Johnson County, or if you want to, just to give people an idea of Johnson County looks clean from what you're looking at right now. There's that storm around Paola that's not severe, but that'll clip the southeastern part, probably Stillwell maybe, closer. Yeah. But as far as Johnson County, just look to your west. Right now it's just the northern part of Johnson County up by the river that's really in this warning. But that's looking pretty impressive around Ottawa. That's something we'll have to keep an eye on. That's what I was going to say as well. I wanted to take a kind of wider look at how this has been kind of unfolding. At first, probably about an hour ago, these were more individualized storms. They have since started to kind of conglomerate together. And I even told Mike during the 10 o'clock show, I was a little bit surprised that we haven't seen these start to form into a line. We're seeing that now. And as you can see, one severe thunderstorm warning is where we got right now, but it's kind of starting to encroach kind of on that I-35 corridor at this point, especially up towards our northwestern counties, up towards the northern border. But Ottawa right now, if we kind of look at this and see what kind of jumps out at us right now, it would be the darker coloring that we're seeing in Ottawa back towards just kind of cross over into the county. Well, the winds are much faster with that storm than with the one we're looking at least if you look at the velocities. Velocities up around 60 to 70 miles per hour around Fairfax and just to the west of Ottawa. So let me get on this. Here's Ottawa right there, Baldwin City. I was looking at some of this brighter blue there. That's when we're starting to get above 60 miles per hour. So this thing may be right now a little bit faster, a little bit stronger, something we'll definitely keep an eye on. And I'm going to take, I see you have Slack open there. Are they talking about that one much at all?
No, looks like there have been some reports in Leavenworth County of around 45-mile-per-hour winds and pea-sized hail.
Okay.
So we are starting, at least there's one report from emergency management in Leavenworth County for pea-sized hail. So that would be off generally towards the kind of the southern end of that warning.
Yeah, kind of what I've been following with the hail tracker on Max 2 here. Those areas of gray that we're seeing, that's some of the hail that we continue to look at. And yeah, there's half inch, there's half inch. So the hail is still kind of capped right at about a half inch. So it continues to be a windstorm that we're dealing with. But yeah, no reports of tree limbs, no reports of any debris, flying, trash cans, anything like that right now, which is good news. I'd be interested to see what they do with that storm around Ottawa, because now it's starting to show a little hail also. I'm
interested in that as well. I will say, if you're in the metro in the 435 loop right now, we did just get some confirmation of some pea-sized hail. If you wanted to go out and maybe park your car inside the garage, something like that, keep that in mind. You do have a little bit of time to do so, but know that these are moving pretty quickly, still around 50, 55 miles an hour. In fact, pretty much this whole entire line is moving that quickly, so it's going to be in and out quick and then off towards the next area. So keep that in mind, but I do think you still have a little bit of time, as this is still going around 50 to 55 miles per hour. So as I mentioned, we're seeing the possibility of some gusty winds starting to move into the area. We're seeing some pockets of more heavier rainfall, especially as we get closer to places like Ottawa, Baldwin City, more on that leading edge. And as Mike and I have been mentioning, this is kind of an indication to us too that there's kind of a little bit better chance to see some hail out of the storms when they start to have this little kind of white cap on them. But as we kind of look up, still towards Leavenworth, still seeing a little bit of that white cap as well, that potential for some penny-sized hail. So keep that in mind. We have seen some reports in the warned area of pea-sized hail. Still haven't seen any reports at this point of gusty winds to around 60 miles an hour right now, around 45 in Leavenworth County. So still keeping an eye on that. Keeping an eye on the storm the part of the line that's down towards Ottawa. And I want to look up towards the northwest as well. The line's starting to break up a little bit, especially towards Bethany and Cameron, but still seeing a lot of lightning with the leading edge of this. On the backside, once you kind of get past the leading edge of this rain and thunderstorm activity, on the back edge, some lighter rain filtering in behind that, maybe a little bit of lightning still in there, but looks to calm down once we get through the leading edge of that. And that's where we have that potential to see those stronger winds, as I had mentioned, as well as some small hail at this point. So I want to put another track on it, take another look, as this is going to be moving now, almost encroaching on Bonner Springs, Baldwin City, almost moving into the Kansas City 435 loop.
Getting close to the legends.
Yes, getting close to legends right now. So we've been seeing a lot of lightning, as I mentioned, on our camera. So you can see off towards the right side of your screen. A lot of lightning, a lot of thunder. That's what we heard from you guys as well on our Facebook. So lightning, thunder out there, still watching that potential for wind as well as hail. Keep in mind, we still have an isolated spin-up tornado threat. When we start to get lines like this, that is a possibility. Haven't seen that, of course, so far this evening, but something we're going to continue to keep an eye on. Right now, heavy rain out there, especially on the leading edge of these storms. You can see still on I think this is still our Lawrence camera. A lot of lightning, heavy rainfall. And I'll be interested to see how much rain some of these areas are picking up, because we already have seen a lot of rain so far today, especially 1 to 3 inches look to be possible.
So you're thinking about the flooding. We're not thinking about creek flooding. We're not thinking about stream flooding, river flooding, but streets turning into mini rivers, parking lots turning into small lakes, just localized flooding like that. Maybe those low-lying areas like on 435 that tend to see water come together. One of the biggest things we're getting, Melissa, is everybody wants to know what's going to happen in their neighborhood. So if we go to Max 2 real quick, let me show you. Almost everybody's under the tornado watch. It just depends on what time it expires. So this kind of area, which includes Kansas City, expires till 4. Back here where the storms are right now is going to expire at midnight here in 45 minutes because the storms are going to be past that. This area down here to the southeast is under a tornado watch until 1 o'clock, but I wouldn't be surprised if the one that's until 4 a.m. overtakes this one, because it's going to take that long for the storms to move this way. So if you're wondering what to expect in your neighborhood, expect this as far as kind of what we're dealing with. We're looking at the possibility of winds around 60 miles per hour. There's a medium chance of that, kind of a 3 out of 5. Quarter size hail, that's when it starts to get damaging. And a medium chance of that, even though I really think that's kind of a smaller chance just by the reports we're getting. And we got those brief spin-ups. What makes brief spin-ups a little bit harder to detect is we can't see them quite as quickly as a mesocyclone that's in a supercell thunderstorm where you see the entire storm rotating. A brief spin-up, sometimes you don't see the entire storm rotating before that thing pops a tornado. So there's certain parts along the line where we will watch where you see a little bit of an inflow notch. That's where it would be spinning. But right now, this is what everybody can expect when these storms come through. At a minimum, quarter-sized hail. At a minimum, 60-mile-per-hour winds. At a minimum, there's a small chance of a spin-up of a tornado. And so, you know, we're going to be in this for a while because northwest Missouri, northeast Kansas, we're going to give you another hour or two. Here in the metro, it's 11:20, 11:18 almost. It's going to take till 1 or 2 a.m. for it to get out of here. And then the rest of us until 4 a.m. So we're just kind of now getting into this as it's moving into our western neighborhoods, now moving into Kansas City, and eventually we'll move off to the east. I saw you dissecting a couple of storms over there.
I was, yes.
Anything new that you saw there caught your eye?
Not really. Still down towards Ottawa, that kind of portion of the storm still that we're watching. Starting to see a lot more brighter kind of reds start to pick up down here, so seeing some heavier rainfall developing as well. Overall, when we take a look at our hail tracker, still, you know, 1/2 inch or less for the size of hail. If we go up towards the north, we are seeing, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, they're more starting to, you know, break up, more of that lighter rain starting to take over back behind the leading edge. Still seeing some lightning towards Bethany, down towards Camden, Plattsburgh as well, but there have been some on our hail tracker, a little bit of some light grays that are picking up. As Mike had showed you, you know, it's a little bit hard to see when the hail is small, when we are tracking smaller hail because it is a gray kind of color scheme. But as you can see, as we play this out, it's this kind of gray that we're seeing here, lifting up towards the northeast. Overall, that's pretty small. I would probably guess that's still around 1/4, probably, size of hail. Maybe on the high side, about 1/2 inch. Yeah, around 4/10. Closer to around 1/2 inch up towards the north. And then even as we head down towards where we've got that severe thunderstorm warning right now.
Do you see that notch around Leavenworth? Kind of caught my eye a little bit.
On radar?
Yeah. Where it's kind of bowing out just a little bit south of Leavenworth, which means the winds are moving a little bit faster.
Yep.
Just south, and that means you get a little bit of a twist here. We're seeing just a little bit of a twist on the radar. Not seeing a lot, but seeing a little bit. But that's just something that caught my eye. That's what I was talking about when you look for those little spin-ups. When you have a solid line like this, you look where one place is bulging out because that means the winds are moving faster than the winds up here, and that causes it to spin. And that's how you get a quick spin up. Not saying that's going to happen, but I'm just saying that is somewhere we would watch, and I just noticed that. So if anything, you're going to get faster winds out of this part. So Parkville, up near Smithville, the airport right here, if you live near that, 435, north of the river in Missouri, you got a gust of winds that are coming in here that's moving a little bit faster than the rest of this storm, which means it could be putting out a little bit stronger winds. So just to let you know that, and of course there's that gray that Melissa's been talking about, a little bit of hail moving through Leavenworth right now. But I just wanted to mention that caught my eye. And I just thought I'd talk about that because I had referenced it before, and there we're actually kind of seeing it.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. I wanted to put kind of another tracker on the next kind of 20, 30 minutes or so, as this is now getting closer to the 435 loop, kind of on the leading edge. So still moving 50, 55 miles an hour. We are getting closer to the kind of expiration date of this warning, so we are expecting, or at least an update soon. about, what the plans are with this specific part of the line. But as you can see right now, 1121 closer to Overland Park and Olathe between about 1130, 1135. Kansas City close to around 1140. And then moving towards Lee's Summit around 1150. So closer to midnight. Then after midnight, Grain Valley, Oak Grove just shortly after the midnight time frame as well. 55 miles an hour is the way it's moving. So it's moving pretty quickly. And it will continue to move quickly as we go into the rest of the night as this is being pushed by a cold front. So let's kind of give another kind of overarching view at what's going on right now. We've got that severe thunderstorm warning for portions of Leavenworth County, Platte County, Wyandotte County, and Johnson County, Kansas. So as you can see, highlighted in that yellow right there, but there is a whole line of storms that are moving through almost close to the I-35 corridor, pushing off towards the southeast over the next couple of hours. This is coming with a cold front, so likely behind the front, this is pretty much wrapped up. Not going to see much after this, so once this is in and out, then that's pretty much the end of it. We are starting to see some light rain building back towards our kind of northern areas behind the leading edge. And the rain and storms that have pretty much been ongoing over the last couple of hours in our eastern counties just almost pushed out of the area. But Warsaw and Sedalia still seeing some rain at this point. We also have some two kind of isolated storms that are moving through the area. If we take a closer look, I wanted to show you that because they are about to move into that 435 loop area as well. Harrisonville seeing thunderstorm activity right now. This is lifting kind of more towards the northeast, so heading towards Oak Grove, Lee's Summit. And then we've got a storm as well towards Lewisburg, moving towards Lock Lloyd, and then eventually towards the Lee's Summit area. So really right now on the western side of the 435 loop and the I-35 corridor is that line of storms. On the eastern side is that more isolated thunderstorms, around two of them, Lewisburg and Harrisonville right now. So I will be interested to see if we're going to get an update soon about this specific storm, especially as we were watching up towards Leavenworth. There have been some more reports out of Leavenworth, specifically Leavenworth County. Heavy rain and pea-sized hail in Leavenworth, the city of Leavenworth. So still seeing some reports of that pea-sized hail from this specific part of the storm, as well as heavy rain. We did see some gusts to around 45 miles an hour from the emergency management in Leavenworth County. They didn't give a specific location, but off towards Leavenworth downtown, heavy rain and pea-sized hail. So still seeing some confirmation of pea-sized hail there. And then we are seeing some gusty winds as well.
I think it's interesting. This goes until 11:30. It's 11:23 right now.
Yeah.
And they haven't extended the warning, even though, let me get this off here. Even though the leading edge is moving. Oh, they just did. They just did. All right. Thank you. Spoke a little too soon. Well, it was an observation that they hadn't let me query this. And there goes my watch telling me we got a new one. So severe thunderstorm warning until midnight for Buchanan, Clay, Clinton, and Platte. So this storm is hitting the Northland right now more than it's hitting anywhere else. So what you can expect is exactly what Melissa's been telling you. The pea-sized hail that was in Leavenworth, expect that to move across the river. The 50 to 60 mile per hour winds, they're possible also. Tons of lightning. But yeah, notice it's a very small area, which is good. That means they've really got it honed down to Leavenworth, Weatherby Lake, Smithville, right there in Platte County in the northern part, heading over towards the southern part of Clinton County, and also the northern part of Clay County. So they've really got it narrowed down to that one area I was just telling you about where that notch was, where I thought the faster winds would be. That's exactly what they have that severe thunderstorm warning out for now. And I like to put this on there just every once in a while so people can see how many people are actually in that warning area. There's about 27,000. So we want to take care of everybody, no matter how few people are affected. If you're going to be affected, we're going to tell you, and we're going to tell you how, tell you when, and tell you what to do. So for this one, just stay away from the windows. Once again, it's probably too late to go outside and try to bring anything in. Melissa?
Well, they had mentioned too, the National Weather Service chat, more of that Boeing segment as we had just been messaging and talking about more of that kind of arch that we've been seeing in that. So that continues till midnight. Buchanan, Clay, Clinton, Platte County is still moving 50, 55 miles an hour right now at this point. We're going to continue to watch that, and I actually am going to be pretty interested here too as well to see if we're going to start to pick any wind gusts up from the airport, because it's going to be moving through the airport here pretty shortly. At least the leading edge is getting close to the airport at this point. So Mike and I'll keep a close eye to see if there's any reports, wind gusts from that, because we haven't really seen many reports of any wind gusts as we've gone through the last, 30 minutes or so. So we're going to watch that. And we're watching still both of these severe thunderstorm warnings right now. As I mentioned, still that one about 4 more minutes on it for portions of Leavenworth County, portions of Wyandotte, Clay County as well. I should say Platte County, excuse me, and then down towards portions of Johnson County. Right now, you can see some heavier rain, lightning forming towards the kind of western side of Wyandotte County moving in, and looks like they just added to. Here's that kind of continuation we were just mentioning of that severe thunderstorm warning as it's getting closer to the metro. So I'm expecting it's still probably going to be for 60-mile-per-hour winds. Yes, as well as penny-sized hail. So 60-mile-per-hour winds, penny-sized hail. It's still, this one's moving a little bit faster. Northeast at around 60 miles an hour.
All right. That would make sense considering the way it bowed out there.
Yes, moving pretty fast. Still have that potential to see some penny-sized hail. So more on the leading edge. I'm going to take off this query, this auto query, so we can get a little bit closer, pause it, zoom in more of where this is going to be moving into at this point, the leading edge.
You mentioned the airport.
Yeah.
And the gusts are just about at the airport. They've just crossed along 435. Okay. The airport's right here. 30, 40 miles per hour? That's not bad. That's not bad. So I think it's still this part up here that's the worst part that you were talking about. So I just wanted to let you know that.
Thanks, Mike.
You bet.
We're going to keep an eye on that too, because that's kind of our ground truth at this point. And I mentioned,
good point.
If you've got any information, make sure to share it with us here on our Facebook feed as well. So let's kind of go through the leading edges of this, as now it's encroaching on 435. So Smithville seeing the leading edge, likely going to start seeing some heavier rain and lightning towards Weatherby Lake, down towards the western side of the 435 loop. Bonner Springs seeing heavy rain right now at this point as well. But if we take even more of a closer look, Parkville starting to see rain, the western side of the 435 loop, also starting to see the leading edge of this, and then down towards our southern areas into Overland Park, Roland Park, and eventually both Kansas City, Kansas and Kansas City, Missouri will be starting to see rain and storms moving in fast, because this is going to be, 50, 60 mile per hour, how quickly they're going. So it is going to be moving in pretty quickly. And it looks like, as I'm seeing here too, we've got our First Warn 5 weather tracker. Can we pull that picture up a little bit bigger? Okay, I'm actually going to toss to Betsy as she's out in our weather tracker. Betsy, what are you seeing?
Yeah, we're out here on State Ave. We got off of 435. We saw this lightning in the distance off to our west. We're circling around by the Speedway, and we really saw the lightning getting strong. We're starting to get that rain. Started off as a sprinkle, coming down a little bit heavier now, where we need the windshield wipers going. From what we could see, what you were showing us, I've been watching, it looks like this is about to become not just windshield wipers, but a torrential rain coming soon. And we are bracing for that as we continue to head west on State Avenue. It does appear that we're driving right into it. You can see now, I think this, the First Warn 5 mobile weather tracker, Kenny, am I right? It has those automatic windshield wipers. So as you see those windshield wipers going faster, that's not us. That's the smart vehicle deciding that the windshield wipers need to go faster because the rain is coming down harder. Yeah, and here it comes. And you see that, can you hear that from my microphone, the actual sound of the rain hitting the windshield?
That's it.
And I'm glad Ken Olry is driving and not me, because this is not something I'm very good at driving in. But you can see that lightning, it's like the sky is going blue. It's a bright blue lightning almost.
Wow.
There you go.
Hey, Betsy, can you tell me exactly where you are again?
Yeah. Yeah, well, we were on State Ave right by the Speedway, but I have a second phone, so I can't see outside very well, so let me look at my Google Maps right now.
So you're right towards
we
Bonner
are
Springs.
approaching, yeah, we're on State Ave approaching 126th Street. So
Okay,
yeah,
so-
we're getting right up, we're about to go by Azura Amphitheater any minute now.
Okay, that is where the newest severe thunderstorm warning was just issued for the area you are right in the middle of. So you are seeing the beginnings of that severe thunderstorm rolling right towards you. So yeah, that's probably why your rain is on the uptick. There's a ton of lightning out there. Not seeing much in the way of hail.
No.
Are you seeing trees bend over? Any kind of indication that the winds have picked up, Betsy?
Not that I can tell, but honestly, Mike, I mean, at this point, I can't see much of anything. It's all just. I'm trying to look out my window. No, I don't see any trees shaking, but we're going super slow right now, 25 miles an hour, because the visibility is extremely limited.
The winds have
as you're
definitely
driving,
picked up.
Can you feel the wind on the vehicle at all? Okay, sorry, I'm taking one headphone out so I can hear him talking. He can't feel the wind pushing the car, but there is a lot of push because of the water. It has built up so much on the roadway that he can feel that water under the tires.
Looks like you're driving through a creek.
Yeah, quite a bit here. It's okay. There we go. I don't know if you saw that little swerve that was hitting. No, that was a bit of hydroplaning. Okay. Was what that was. The water, this is coming down so quickly that it's pooling. There's nowhere for it to go. This happening so suddenly, this large burst of rain.
Mike and I had mentioned earlier too.
And I'm going to take.
Oh, go ahead, Betsy.
Yeah. Oh, I was just going to say I'm going to look at my my map. Yes, we are approaching the K7 exit now. So we're approaching Azura Amphitheater off to our south here any minute now. Actually, no, we did just pass Azura Amphitheater and now we're approaching K7. So we're continuing to go west on 40 and I'm feeling wind. Are you feeling wind now? A little push against the car? I'm sorry, I'm speaking to a photographer, Ken Ulrey, who's driving. Yeah, you can feel that.
You're
wind
just
kind
north
of pushing,
the fastest
but I'm
winds.
having a.
Okay, I just figured out exactly where you were. You're about 3 or 4 miles north of the fastest wind, so that's probably why you're not seeing a lot of wind right now. Most of the wind is just down to your south, moving across 435.
And even down towards Zura
Yeah.
too. It looks like kind of picking up on our Doppler winds. Around 35 to 45 miles per hour is what I've been seeing, closer to Bonner Springs and K7. Not quite as gusty winds, around maybe 19 to 25 miles per hour, but looks like, you know, if we take a look at K7 Bonner Springs, kind of off towards the Legends area right here, then down towards Zura, you can see some brighter color into that green. So a little bit of a brighter green, picking up around, I would say, now it's a little bit lower as well, 29 to 35 miles an hour. It was a little bit higher as I tracked it to about, well, Betsy and I were talking and Mike, but still seeing some gusty winds out there. Okay, this is looking at our NFM Legends camera. You can see maybe a little bit of the wind as well. Heavy rain, it's hard to see. It's reducing visibility. And as Betsy mentioned, they were hydroplaning on the ground, falling so quickly. It's a kind of very heavy rain, especially as we look right now at our radar, and that is where the pockets of heaviest rain right now are, towards the east of Bonner Springs, moving in towards Shawnee. So as you can see, some of this darker red right towards the Legends area, pockets of maybe some more maroon towards the south as we take a look mainly on the kind of southern edge of Wyandotte County. But heavy rain out there, a lot of lightning. We have, seen some reports towards Leavenworth County of small hail in terms of pea-sized hail and gusty winds. So as this is continuing to push through the area, it's getting closer and closer now into the heart of Kansas City, about to be moving into places like Shawnee. Shawnee about to pick up I'm going to send it over to Mike. Mike looks like he's got some new information
I'm
here.
just dialed in on exactly
Yeah.
what you were talking about. Here's Lake Quivira, Johnson Drive. Here's 435. Fastest winds are right now between that area or coming right along Johnson Drive. That's heading right into Shawnee and eventually Merriam. So in the next few minutes,
They just added
we got a tornado warning.
tornado warning.
There is a tornado warning on this particular storm right here. Let's go back to Melissa. She's dialed in on it, and I'll get close to it.
And then if we could also, of course, go on, speaking to Colin. Okay, we'll be right back and be right back on air. Hi, everybody. Meteorologist Melissa Meeder here, as well as our meteorologist Mike Nicco. We have a new tornado warning that has just been issued for portions of Kansas City. So I want to take a closer look at that, zoom in on that particular tornado warning that goes through the heart of Kansas City right now at this point. As you can see, this goes until midnight tonight. So we've got about 25 more minutes. As you can see, kind of that darker red flashing right now. Jackson, Johnson, Wyandotte counties are included in this as well, closer to the I-70 corridor, including portions of the heart of KCK, as well as portions of Kansas City, Missouri, down to the southern portions, including Overland Park right now. So we're looking at this. I'm going to send it over to Mike. Mike's got a little bit of a closer look at when this could be moving into your neighborhood. Mike, over to you.
Yeah, here that area I was just talking about. If you were following us on social media, that is where the radar indicated tornado in. So it is 11:37 right now. It is moving into Shawnee as we speak. Lowest floor, most interior room. Put as many walls between you and those winds as possible, because that's what's going to hurt you, is the debris flying around in those winds. So Shawnee, please exercise your plan right now calmly. Remember, the kids are going to cue off the way you act. If you act calm, your kids will be calm also. Mission, you've got a little bit of time, but not much. Go ahead and start doing, exercising your plan also. Roland Park at 11:45, Kansas City at 11:50, North Kansas City 11:52. So let me show you exactly what we are looking at. And it's an area that we were watching. And while we were talking to Betsy, while she was a little bit farther north in the legends, and it's got to be this area right here just south of Lake Quivira on Johnson Drive there, heading over towards Shawnee as we speak. The radar gets a little muddled, but that looks like that would be the best place for the strongest winds and the possibility of a little bit of gate-to-gate shear that would create what we would need for a small tornado, the velocity about 70 miles per hour. So that's where I'm thinking it is. Are you seeing anything differently on your end?
No, I'm seeing that too. That's closer. I'm getting closer to a little bit more cross streets. Quivira Lane and then West 51st Street right now is kind of looks where that could be around. Make sure that you are getting to the safest place in your home, especially if you are in the Lake Quivira area, if you are in Shawnee, if you are in points south and points to the north. As this is moving, this storm is moving very quickly. At this point, it's moving around, I would want to say 50 to 55 miles per hour. Let's take a closer look here. And I also will let you know that you're probably going to start hearing sirens. Our station here is in Fairway.
I hear them.
Yes, and we are hearing sirens. And it looks like we just have an update on our radar.
It's right on 35 near Merriam. Did you see that?
Yes, yep.
Yeah.
So if you are anywhere towards the I-35 corridor across streets of 635, you need to be getting in your tornado safe place now. This is moving quickly, will continue to move quickly, and probably will be very shortly into Grays Park towards the Roland Park area. Looks like it could be just towards the north of us here in Roland Park and in Fairway, Kansas. So if you know anybody in this area right now, call them, make sure they are awake, tell them to go get in their safe place, as we are seeing the possibility at this point of a tornado moving into portions of the heart of the Kansas City metro. Mike, do you have a track pulled up over there?
Well, I've got it. I just wanted to show the crew here at the station and those that live. Here's where we are. This tornado is about 3 miles from us. It should keep going right up 35, which means we're going to be fine. We will stay on the air and we'll continue to track it. We can hear the sirens going off here in Fairway, but there's 635, there's 35, and there is right there on Antioch Road. Antioch Road and 35 is where we're seeing the center of that circulation right now. And if it's moving to the east-northeast at about 40 miles per hour, so this storm is actually slowed down a little bit compared to the rest of the line that was moving around 50 to 55. So if we have something, this scan is getting a little dated. It's going to be heading up towards Shawnee Drive, possibly 69 and 35, and then heading up towards possibly West Bottoms, that area. We'll keep an eye on that because it's going to head right through the heart of, well, just south of Kansas City, Kansas, but right in the northern part of Johnson County is where we're seeing this right now. So, yeah, as Melissa mentioned, wake people up.
Yeah.
If they're not up yet, make sure if you know anybody up here, wake them up, get them down into their lowest floor, most interior room, and make sure they're safe. What are you seeing over there?
I did put a tracker on this. It's giving me kind of more of locations. I wanted to kind of point out right now it is 11:41. So if you live near the Skyline School, you need to go right now to your tornado safe place. 11:43 towards Grace Park, 11:45-ish towards Whitmore School, and then Thomas A. Edison Elementary School. If you are in any or around any of these areas, you need to make sure that you are getting in your tornado safe place right now. And when you're there, you could call any loved ones as well and tell them get in their tornado safe place. Now, as I mentioned, we are in Fairway, Kansas. So as you can see, this is coming out right from our camera on the top of our building. Very heavy rainfall. If there is a tornado in this, of course, it is going to be extremely hard to see. It's at night. It is going to be very heavy rain that is out there right now. Looks like winds are picking up, as you can see. If you see the flag at the bottom of your screen, picking up as well.
That's looking west, right?
Yes.
Up Shawnee Mission Parkway to the west.
Yep.
If there's any way we can turn that thing about to the northwest, turn it to the right a little bit, we should be able, it's rain wrapped. I assume the storm's rain wrapped, but if we turn it, if we can, that would be looking right at, because as we talked about, this thing is moving within 2 miles of our station. Now we're okay here. We're going to be fine. We're going to stay on the air. I did see, Melissa, if you want to change the elevation on the radar, they said 0.9 to 1.3 elevation might show the rotation a little bit better.
A little bit better.
And this seems to be, yeah, it's moved quite a bit since I last did that velocity.
It's moving very quickly. So you need to, you know, if you are anywhere, if Mike, while I change this, if you could possibly put a track on it so I could we could get a clearer kind of indication of where this is.
Trying to find out where it is because our radar skipped. I think it was raining so heavily there for a second that we froze. So let me try to get this loaded. It's probably around Westwood right now.
Yeah, I'm looking. I mean, it's very hard to see right now. Right here, kind of towards Grace Park, maybe a little bit further north of Westwood Hills. It looks to kind of be taking that kind of I-35 corridor kind of route, as you can see. And I'm going to be interested to see, Mike, too, if you could, once you figure out the radar change, we'll look to see if we're starting, you know, if there's a correlation coefficient or anything like that. A debris detector, basically, is what I'm talking about. But if you are in the Grace Park area, looks to be going up the Southwest Boulevard. This is moving a little bit slower. I'm going to get closer to kind of go street by street. So Southwest Boulevard looks like Mission Road. Right now, you need to be getting in your safe place. If you live along the I-35 corridor, as you head up north into portions of the Kansas City Metro, you need to be getting in your safe place right now. We are continuing to watch the potential of a tornado at this point. We do have the tornado warning until midnight tonight. And as I mentioned, you're probably, if you're waking up, you're joining us right now, there is a tornado warning for portions of the southern portion of the Kansas City metro area. I'll take a kind of closer look. As you can see, zoomed in into that red area. Looks like we're getting an update.
It's got to be in Westwood Hills by now.
Okay.
If not,
it says Westwood Hills or in Westwood, moving east at 55 miles an hour.
Right towards Westport, moving right towards Westport, which would put it just north of the plaza. Within a mile of the plaza, north of the plaza is where this is going. So that would, all right, so the plaza, you need to be careful, especially in some of those higher rise apartments there. You want to make sure you get away from the windows, go into the hallway if you can. Do not get in an elevator in case the power goes out. If you have stairs and you would feel safer going to the lowest floor, take the stairs. That would be the safest way to go. A lot of times if the power goes out, the stairs are fine. They probably have emergency lighting just in case. But this thing is probably just about a mile north of the plaza, just moving past it now, probably just moved through Westport.
Yeah.
Looking at that latest scan, and it's heading over towards 71 on the Missouri side, heading over towards possibly Arrowhead. So if you live anywhere between Westport, northern Raytown, and over towards Arrowhead, where 70 and 435 come together, please seek shelter immediately. This is it right here. It's going to go right through this area, I think, maybe a little bit farther south, but we're trying to look at it like right around here. Right there, you can see it where Highway 169 meets Highway 171, Michigan Avenue. That's one of those areas that may be right underneath it or pretty close to it. Melissa?
Yeah, I'm looking to see if there's anything on the debris tracker right now. I'm really not seeing much at first indication right now. Mike, were you able to change the settings on your radar?
I did, and here's, it's got to be right near Westport. The issue is, it's got to be right in here, because here's where, this is what we've been tracking, is that brighter green against this red. And so looking at this scan, remember these scans are maybe a second too old. It's going to go right across 71, maybe Indiana Avenue, Prospect Avenue. If you live between 71 and 70 on the Missouri side, please seek shelter right now. If you live on the northern side, as you head up from 70 up to East 12th Street, even 24, that area, that is moving towards you. And it is moving at 40 miles per hour, so you do have time. Let me see if I can put a track on this.
I'm about to put a track on it too, if you want to move it over to me.
Go ahead, take it.
Yeah, it's moving 40, 45 miles an hour at this point. It's kind of getting closer to the middle part, as you can see, of this warning at this point. So the track I'm going to put on it probably is going to go a little bit further out of when the warning will ends, which would be around midnight. We're going to continue to watch to see if they continue that warning. But if we take a look right now, pulling it out mainly towards the northeast at this time, moving towards the Arrowhead Stadium in about 4 or 5 minutes.
They're going to, okay, can I interject a second?
Yes, go ahead.
So the Weather Service says we're planning to let the tornado warning expire at the top of the hour. We will continue to monitor for future spin-ups. A new severe warning will be issued downstream of the tornado warning with a tornado possible tag. Okay, so all those areas we just talked about where you need to go ahead and exercise your tornado safety rules, go ahead and do that, because they're going to continue to watch that circulation. And I just looked also at the correlation coefficient. Yeah. I didn't see anything on it, which is good news. We would really like to see a blue ball somewhere in here that would indicate that there's debris up in the air. Yeah. We don't see that. So again, this is a radar indicated tornado that's more than likely rain wrapped on the leading edge of these storms as they move through it. It's probably now on the other side of 435 and 70. That's 40 miles per hour. It doesn't take long as the crow flies for this to get to Englewood and Sugar Creek here in the next 30 seconds or so.
Yeah, this I don't think it's picking up correctly exactly on the speed of this, especially as we are getting closer. I'm going to pick up the speed on here closer to around 40, 45 miles an hour. But if you live near Arrowhead Stadium, if you live anywhere on the kind of eastern edge of that kind of 435 loop out towards Anthol as well, you need to be getting in your tornado safe place now. So looks like Arrowhead Stadium, you need to be getting in your safe place now, as I'd mentioned. Is this the camera out towards Arrowhead? Okay. A lot of lightning with it. Obviously, it's going to be hard to see. It's nighttime. There's very heavy rain falling right now at this point. If we're looking for kind of any indication of a tornado, it would have to be probably when we're seeing lightning flashes. So if you are in the Arrowhead Stadium area, It's just about knocking on your door. You need to be in your tornado safe place. Probably hearing the tornado sirens as well. By the time we get to about 11:57, moving into Inglewood, you need to be in your safe place as well. And then around midnight, Chrysler Stadium, Maywood, please be getting in your safe place as well. As Mike had mentioned, they're looking at as I mentioned, right, Mike? They're looking at expiring it?
Yeah, they're going to let it expire at the top and issue a new one with a possible tornado tag on it. Looking at the hail track's still small. It's north of it. Hail's not the big issue. It's still that tornado, the possible radar indicated tornado. Again, the radar looks at this way and this way. So it gets a cross section of the items that it's hitting. And if it's in irregular shape, it's not in the shape of a ball like an ice stone would be, or a sphere like rain would be, then it says, well, that is not Mother Nature made, or that's not a weather object. That is something foreign that we don't know, and that's more than likely debris in the air, and we just don't see that right now. So that is the good news. The unfortunate news is, this is moving over Arrowhead right now and heading up towards Independence. So if you're in Independence, find your safe spot right now.
Mike, thank you. I also wanted to point out they did just update to add that severe thunderstorm warning as a continuation, as we are set to pretty much expire. And if we could take max 1 too, that'd be great. Mike also showing zoomed in closer look at this point. But as you can see, here's where that tornado warning comes to an end. That's okay, Mike. It's where the tornado warning comes to an end. Continuation by the time we get to midnight for the severe thunderstorm warning with that tornado possible tag. That continues probably for another 45 minutes or so. So keep that in mind, especially with the potential of a tornado tag. This is so important that tonight, as we continue over the next couple of hours, to make sure that you have several ways to receive alerts. I know it's close to midnight now at this point. Make sure you have several ways to receive weather alerts that would wake you up in the event that you need to take shelter. And, 20-30 minutes ago, tornado warning was issued for portions of the Kansas City metro, and people needed to be waked up to be put, of course, in their tornado safe place as well. So overall, continuing to see heavy rainfall. This is, with the potential of this being a tornado, the tornado warning, it's going to be rain wrapped. It is going to be dark. Make sure you're going into your tornado safe place. As we get closer to around midnight, they're going to expire that tornado warning. And then as that's part of the storm, as you can see, the leading edge closer to the Kansas City area will be pushing off towards the east.
Are you okay if I put a track on yours?
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's put it like right there.
Looks like we're having some issues with maybe a little bit of our max boxes here.
Okay, so we're looking at like 12 o'clock, maybe Independence. So you've got like 6 minutes to get to your shelter, if not faster. Blue Mills, 12:10. Go ahead and take it. You're on air.
Around midnight in Independence, moving towards about 12:15 a.m. in Buckner, Oric around 12:23, and then around 12:30 moving into Wellington. So just about right now, that spot that we've been watching, probably moving into the Arrowhead Stadium area. Make sure you're in your tornado safe place by about midnight in Independence, moving towards there. 12:10, Blue Hills around Buckner around 12:15, and then Oric around 12:23, getting closer to around 12:30 tonight towards Wellington. So make sure, as we are going to continue to track this storm and bring you the latest updates, make sure you've got several ways to receive alerts, especially as we are going into the overnight time frame where many people may be asleep right now. So if you live in the Kansas City metro area, the 435 loop right now, there is a severe thunderstorm warning. There is also portions of us that are on the southern edge of portions of Johnson County, southeastern edge of Johnson County, over towards the southern edge of our Jackson County area, closer probably towards the northwestern side. This is where that tornado warning is right now. We have seen heavy rainfall with it. We heard it as well when we think about the heavy rainfall, the lightning with that as well. We also did hear some tornado sirens, some emergency sirens that did go off as we're closer to around Fairway here. So just a little bit further south of where we were watching that couplet. So keep that in mind. We're going to continue to get the latest scans here. It's getting a little bit more messy as I've got some of our warnings on right now. So I wanted to take kind of a wider look at this point because there are there is a line at this point that's moving through the area, all the way from Bethany down the 35 corridor towards Garnett. As you can see right now, centered in the Kansas City metro area is where we are seeing the strongest parts of those storms. And we are going to continue to watch this very closely, especially with the tornado possible tag and a tornado warning at this point. So if you are joining us right now, I'm going to take off the radar. It's around 11:55. We've got a tornado warning continuing until midnight for portions of Jackson, Johnson, Wyandotte counties. I'm going to take off the radar so we can get a little bit of a closer look to see where specifically that is. So this is moving closer towards the Raytown area, and then we'll eventually move into that severe thunderstorm warning once we get to about the next couple of minutes. The National Weather Service had mentioned set to expire that tornado warning as it moves off towards the east into the other areas, towards Independence, as well as closer to Blue Springs, Buckner, Green Valley, Oak Grove. This is going to be a tornado possible tag as it starts to transition over towards the east. And Mike, can I send it over to you? Looks like you're looking at.
I'm looking at some stuff that's coming. Yeah, we had an estimated 60-mile-per-hour wind gust, just a straight line gust, about 4 miles southwest of Kansas City, the downtown, which would put it right where we thought that a strong storm was going. Now, the good news, and I think the same thing the Weather Service is seeing, is we're not seeing quite the notch we saw before with this. The winds aren't quite as strong as they were before, but we were looking like right in this notch, that area where the green bows out a little bit faster than the other green. That creates the spin needed. We're not seeing that be quite as strong, or that's probably why they are letting the tornado warning in, because this is almost out of the tornado warning. We're coming up at 12, but because there is still a little bit of rotation with this storm, they're thinking, what happens if it spins up again? What happens, it may do that. It doesn't look as impressive as it did before, but you're still seeing the possibility of something. And while we're in a tornado watch, why not just be more prepared than you would normally be for a severe thunderstorm? Why don't you just go ahead and go down if you live in northern Jackson in the county, and if you live up near the river, on the other side of the river near Liberty, south of the river near Independence, Missouri City, these are kind of the areas that are going to have the fastest winds, possibly even right along 70. If you know anybody that's trying to get to Kansas City now from the east and they're on 70, you maybe have a kid coming home, or you have people coming to see you, tell them to pull off the road. Tell them to let this storm go by, let these winds push through the Blue Springs, Green Valley area, and then once it's passed, they can come back in. But, we're still looking just north of Raytown, right around Independence. That gap right there is where we could have the fastest winds right here, right now, just outside of the tornado warning. So that's what we're going to keep watching.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. I got a kind of closer look. As Mike had mentioned, we're kind of looking at little notches where this red and this green are getting a little bit closer together, making more of a couplet. So right now, this is the area we've been watching from Sugar Creek down towards Arrowhead Stadium. So if you are in the line of this, Sugar Creek towards Independence, over towards the I-70 corridor and kind of Salsa, as well as East Independence. Overall, as I'd mentioned, this is a tornado possible as we go into about the next 30 seconds. That's what's going to turn into that severe thunderstorm warning with the tornado possible tag. As Mike had mentioned, we are currently in a tornado watch. So as we go through the rest of the night tonight, and that continues until 4 o'clock this morning, there is that potential for tornadoes to form tonight. So make sure you have several ways to receive alerts. We're still watching kind of that corridor. As you can see, it's a little bit harder as we get closer now to the radar. It's a little bit more muffled. So down towards the bottom of your screen, Pleasant Hill is where our radar is. So that's why we're seeing a little bit more clutter happening. But even as I take a wider look, if you're looking over Independence, between Independence and Lee Summit, seeing a little bit more brighter color happening as well, indicating too maybe some stronger winds. And this is an area we're going to continue to watch as we go a little bit more street level. I want to send it over to Mike. Looks like Mike's got some information over there too.
Well, when this first started, we first highlighted this area before the tornado warning was issued. We were looking around the Merriam area a little bit to the west, and sure enough, there were power flashes in Merriam. And usually a lot of times when you see tornado video, you see power flashes. And so that was possible there. But they're saying it's thunderstorm wind damage right now. But that was the area that we were looking at, 635 and 35, for the possibility of that rain-wrapped radar-indicated tornado. So, there is a history of damage with this particular storm. That's the only damage we have right now outside of that radar, that estimate of 60-mile-per-hour winds by somebody with the Weather Service, and that was right. Let me zoom in on that. Trying to get too close, probably. There it is. And so that was right there, as you can see. This was the possible on Roanoke Parkway, estimated 60-mile-per-hour winds in West Plaza, thunderstorm wind gusts. So even if it wasn't possibly turning twisting winds, it was putting out at least flat line, straight line winds that were causing a little bit of damage. But, you're doing a good job of looking over to the east. Tell me, what do you see now?
Well, I'm still looking over towards the east, especially now I've changed it from storm relative velocity to regular Doppler winds, which is more of that kind of straight line wind indicator, especially as we watch the potential for that rotation. But I also wanted to point out some strong winds could be possible with this as well, and that would be along the leading edge of that. You can see where we are seeing that kind of red and that green kind of meshed together. There's a little bit of that gray line. That's where we're starting to see more of those stronger winds, which would be on the leading edge. So moving, just east of Independence now, headed towards Missouri City, some gustier winds, and then eventually towards Blue Springs. But when I click on our query, overall, between about 30 to 40 miles an hour for our velocity is what we're seeing at this point. But keep in mind now that, it's 12:02 overall. We had mentioned that, there was, now this has turned into a tornado possible tag. But as you can see, this is highlighting now on the eastern side of the Kansas City Metro, Green Valley, Excelsior Springs. This includes you, tornado possible tag. So we're watching the possibility for it to rotate. Clay, Jackson, Lafayette, Ray counties are included in this, especially as you can see, we are looking at heavy rain on the front side of this. Liberty, Independence, Lee Summit, seeing the heaviest rain at this point. Lighter rain out towards Buckner, starting to see some heavier rain towards Excelsior Springs and then Lake Lottawada. And looks like we've got a scout camera.
We got a lot of hail showing up on the radar here too in that same area.
This is a look at I-70 and 470. Is that correct? Okay, so I-70, the 470 corridor, just kind of in the pockets of that heavier rain. I'm going to zoom in to kind of show you where that's at. It's just towards the west of Blue Springs. Heavy rainfall, lightning, thunder, all happening there. Gusty winds. Still haven't seen any reports right now of, possibility of any hail. The hail is on the smaller side. That would be around penny-sized hail if we do see any hail. So heavy rain, lightning, thunder. We're watching the possibility of gusty winds, hail, and there is a tornado possible tag onto that. But as you can see, heavy rainfall. I want to watch out towards Green Valley as well and Blue Springs. So overall, the kind of leading edge would kind of bring the strongest wind gusts with this right now. And I want to send it over to Mike as well as he's taking a look at our Doppler winds.
Yeah, just seen a little notch develop once again. It's the thing that we saw the first time that made us watch that area and go, okay, we're going to keep an eye on this area. And then sure enough, tornado warning popped. Not saying this is going to happen, but this is what we watch. So here's Independence. Here's Highway 78. Here's 291, Swope Drive, East Truman Road, seeing a little bit of possible rotation right there. Not saying that anything's reaching the ground right now, but if we did have some faster winds or if something was swirling above us, that would be the area where it would be right now, according to radar. And this has always been, when it was a tornado warning, the radar indicated tornado, and that's still the area that we would see. And, I'm going to just take a quick look up and down this line real quick and see if there's any other notches. There's a slight one south of Courtney near Kentucky Road. Here's another one, but you know, just not seeing as much as we saw with that other one. So that's why we continue to watch that one for at least damaging winds, straight line winds out of it. But if there's going to be any type of circulation with this one, which is why they put the possible tornado tag on it, it's going to be right there heading towards East Independence.
East Independence, I've got a little bit more of a zoomed in look towards East Truman Road. This is moving still, as I mentioned, around, let's see, because it has been updating and changing a little bit. The tornado warning part of the storm was a little bit slower. Let's see.
Can I, let me read something real quick?
Yes,
while you're
go
doing
ahead.
From the Weather Service, watching the segment of the line west side of Blue Springs at I-470-70, which we were watching.
Yep.
Last time we had small storms get ingested into the line is when the rotation formed, maintaining the tornado possible tag and severe warning. So it's still that area that they are watching for the possibility of a small rotation.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're right on it with where we think it is and where we think it's going. So they're seeing the same thing we are. Okay.
We just got a newer scan in as well. It says it's going around 50 miles an hour. So if there is any possible rotation, it's in that area of Blue Springs over towards Lake City as well. So you can kind of see we're looking at where the greens and the reds are starting to meet each other a little bit more. When we get into situations where we look at lines of rain and thunderstorm activity, that is where it gets very easy for there to be a tornado spin up to occur, especially with what we're seeing tonight as a cold front is pushing through the area. So really kind of towards the 7 corridor and then down towards Blue Springs, up towards Lake City. We're watching the potential of a few notches to show the possibility of some rotation in there as well. And the leading edge, you know, of these storms are kind of what we're seeing here now at this point. And if I put our regular radar back over it, you can see still seeing some heavier rain right now just east of the Blue Springs area towards Green Valley. So we're watching this area very closely at this point. And even as we take a wider look at this, you can see, you know, we're seeing a little bit of zigzagging when we take a kind of wider look. So we're watching the potential there of some notches. And as the severe thunderstorm warning continues, there is that tornado possible tag. So it's something we're going to continue to watch here very closely. But when we get sort of in these setups, it's a little bit harder to you know, pick out specific areas and potential of that rotation because they are just little notches that start to form and will continue to form as we go through, you know, as this line continues to push towards the east.
So while we don't have a tornado warning right now, can we take a real quick reset and show some of the people that are in the clear right now? The tornado watch being lopped off for parts of northwest Missouri, eastern Kansas. I would say, you know, if you're anywhere in the Kansas side right now, at least north of 70, you're pretty much okay. We're getting a lot of people asking, is Wyandotte County okay? This is Wyandotte County right here, Johnson County, Miami County under that. And when you put the radar on top of those, you can see that, yeah, we still have a little bit in Johnson County, so we can't give the all clear there. We still get a little bit in Miami, but you'd notice it is definitely weakening with the strongest part over in Missouri. So yeah, if you live in Kansas right now, pretty close to calling the all clear. You're okay. If you were worried and staying up because of that, I think you're going to be okay. This may pulse up a little bit on the backside, but it's really this area that's moving towards Richmond and Oak Grove that we have the biggest threat. And up in northern Missouri, we haven't forgotten about you. There's just not a lot going up there. For once, you are the quieter part of the metro, or the area, I should say, the viewing area. It's just this storm. It's coming right across Interstate 70. Melissa?
Thanks, Mike. I want to put a track right now, too, on the kind of leading edge of this storm. The severe thunderstorm warning going to be moving off towards, you know, kind of the east here, 50, 55 miles per hour. And it looks like they just made an update to it. But I want to let you know kind of where this is headed now at this point. It's 12:09, so just about to move into Oak Grove at this point. Wood Hills towards about 12:11. Then shortly after, 12:16 into Orick. And then as we head more towards Lake Lafayette, Lafayette around 12:19, pushing towards Lexington and Morton as we get closer to around 12:30 tonight, and then towards Higgins, kind of on the outside edge of that warning area. That's around 12:33. So watching the potential for those spin-ups to occur within this. There's that tornado possible tag, gusty winds, small hail with this as well, moving pretty quickly. So make sure that, you have several ways to receive alerts as we go into the next couple of hours, as these storms are moving very quickly and a lot of us are asleep have been asleep, or it's nighttime, basically, is what I'm trying to say here. So make sure to have several ways to receive alerts. The kind of heaviest rain now at this point is down towards Green Valley. As you can see, here's a look at I-70 before Green Valley at this point. As I mentioned, I think this is probably where we're starting to see the heaviest rain. We are seeing, the camera shaking, so that's indicating to us windy conditions, wind gusts, but also heavy rain out there at this point, lightning starting to pick up as well. As you kind of go on the I-70 corridor closer to Green Valley, Oak Grove seeing some light rain at this point too. So heavy rainfall out there. There's the possibility of strong winds, 60-mile-per-hour winds. There's that tornado possible tag. And I'm also reading an update here from the National Weather Service.
While you're doing that, just seeing several areas of interest, right along Highway 24 heading out towards Buckner. We're just really, what we've been doing is kind of watching these notches where the winds could spin up just north of Blue Springs right there. Otherwise, it's just a push of straight line winds. But anytime we see those notches, that's when we start to get concerned. We see a couple of them out there. They just caught our eye, and we'll keep an eye on those, but it still continues to be the storm that's kind of just north of 70. That's really the biggest issue now. Good news, here's a look at the correlation coefficient or the debris tracker. Don't see a blue ball anywhere. So even these straight line winds, maybe not even popping anything up into the air that we could possibly see. But, there is the strongest part of the storm, probably right on Lake City and up Blue Mills. That yellow, or that gray you see is the possibility of small hail out there. So heading towards Sibley and Buckner along 24 and right along the river. Watch out, you got some small hail coming your way. But it's moving away from the metro right now. All this back here, not necessarily severe in the Northland or heading back to the Northland. But there is still some pretty heavy rain, as Melissa was mentioning, around Raytown, heading towards Lee Summit, heading towards Grandview and Belton, all the way down to Lewisburg on 69 on the Kansas side in Miami County. None of that is severe. The only thing we continue to watch is that box right there, which means Oak Grove, Napoleon, Oric, Excelsior Springs, and Lawson. Stay away from the windows. Go inside an interior room and ride this out. Take your phone with you. We're on Facebook. We're also on YouTube. We're on our app. So anything that makes you mobile and able to go to a safe place, we're there, and we'll stay with you this entire time. I see you're dissecting the winds again, Melissa. Yeah,
I'm back to the winds again. Some of it is starting to break up a little bit, especially as we get down towards the kind of Buckner area. But I am watching, what's a little bit further south towards the Excelsior Springs area at this point, and as we kind of head closer to the Missouri City and then down towards Buckner, the kind of leading edge, as I'd mentioned, kind of where we are seeing those red and greens meet is where we're going to be watching here for that potential for some spin-ups. There is that tornado tag possible on it, and this is moving very quickly. So, of course, with the potential for some spin-ups, it occurs quickly, could spin up and down very quickly, and by that I mean could spin up, be up, and then eventually start to see it start to decay, which we saw a little bit earlier on with the tornado warning that did go through portions of the metro. So we're going to be able to watch this, the Doppler winds, as we get a little bit, closer, as we go a little bit more street level here. But overall, I did start to take a look to see if we're seeing any velocities that are kind of jumping out to me. And by that, I mean some stronger winds that are going to be possible kind of along that kind of edge of this storm. And I've been seeing around 20, 30 miles per hour for velocity. So not necessarily very strong winds at this point, but it's something we're going to continue to watch, of course, with this storm. And the National Weather Service had mentioned, northeast of Blue Springs.
Yeah, putting a track on it right now.
still producing some wind that is starting to punch down. So, Mike, did you have a tracker on it?
Yeah, I got the track on it right now.
Let's go over to Mike.
So what is happening is maybe we're not seeing as much rotations now. We're starting to see this thing morph into more of a straight line wind event. And that colder air with that rain coming down is bringing that low level jet that we talked about. If you're just joining us, low level jets right above us. It's been screaming 60, 80 miles per hour. When that cold air, which is heavier from the rain, touches that, it may bring it down, and every once in a while we get a little punch of a gust that may be a little bit faster, and that's why we have the severe thunderstorm warning. So in Wellington, it is 12:15. You got 12:29, Lexington 12:39, Higginsville, Quarter, all these areas a little bit farther out and away from that. So you have plenty of time to take care of anything that really needs to be locked down or brought in. I'll go a little bit closer and show you where I think the fastest winds are probably coming out of this right here, right in that area. Right along was at 24. That's the Missouri River. That's 70. So we're probably seeing the fastest winds now blowing across Oric, Fleming, Napoleon, heading towards Wellington. Are you dissecting the winds again, or I could do that?
I did look at the winds again, but I'm going to put back a tracker on this. I also looked to see if there's any indications of hail. Not really seeing that much. So we look towards kind of back towards the western side of Shelby and then over towards Blue Springs, where we're starting to see some of those. Oh, they just popped off. But we were seeing at least some indications of some small hail. Looks like with the latest radar scans, not quite seeing that as much. If there is any, it would be very small at this point, closer to around a half of an inch. When we think about sizes of hail, that's closer to penny to pea size to even marble hail. So strong winds with this. We're watching that potential for a tornado possible tag. I'm going to put back a track on this, especially because we're about to get closer to where now it's going to be a little bit further out, or it's starting to come to its end. We've got about 12 more minutes left on the warning. And so if we kind of take another look at how quickly it'll be moving into your area, Napoleon just about there at this point, 12:17, 12:22 towards Wellington, Richmond around 12:24, and then 12:29 in Lexington. So this, as I mentioned, moving fast, 50, 55 miles per hour. So it moves in quick, moves out quick as well. Hardin around 12:33, and then eventually towards Higginsville around 12:36. So that puts us out probably about 15 to 20 minutes from now as it continues to push off towards the east at this point. But right now, I kind of want to take a wider look at just what's going on, because this is now the third round of rain and thunderstorm activity and the severe potential we've been watching today. And so there is a cold front at this point. That cold front pretty much close to the I-35 corridor, pushing these storms and a line down towards the southeast. So this is going to continue to push off towards the southeast here over the next couple of hours. But really, as it's moving through the metro right now, it's probably going to be out of the I-35 corridor by the time we get to about, I would say, closer to about 1:30 at this point, because these are moving so quickly. Right now, the only warning that we have in the area is in portions of the metro, as I mentioned, the warning that we have been talking about here over the last 20, 30 minutes at this point. That continues until 12:30. Clay, Lafayette, Jackson, and Ray counties are included in this. The area that we're watching for the heaviest rain right now, down south of Buckner and in between Oak Grove. As you can see, there's some darker magentas in there as we get closer to Napoleon. Heaviest rain pretty much around the 24 corridor, moving into Napoleon. Some heavier rain up towards Oric as well. But we've been watching, as I mentioned, that this specific warning previously is an extension of what was the tornado warning that moved through portions of the southern metro. That has continued. So that is why we have that tornado possible tag, especially when we start to get setups like this. The possibility of those spin-ups continue to be there, and we're going to continue to watch it too as well. Mike?
Oh, just informed that about 2,000 people in the metro without power right now. So even, with the storm having moved through, when it's heading to your neighborhood, that's something that you may encounter. So what we always say is, on a day like today, that's why we want you to have everything charged to its full capacity, especially at night, and especially when a lot of us are wanting to go to sleep. So our phones or our watches or whatever we use to get our warnings, hopefully it's our app because it does a wonderful job. That will be able to wake you up and it won't run out of juice. So that's just something that we want to talk about. We've got that many people without power, which isn't too bad considering how fast those winds could have been blowing through. We had some damage in Merriam. We had a 60-mile-per-hour gust in Raytown, near Raytown, and at this point, we are not planning on issuing any more thunderstorms downstream. That is coming from the National Weather Service, so that is good news. Yep. On the Kansas side, a lot of the emergency management folks are shutting down because the storms have moved on for the most part. So this is clearly a Missouri storm right now. I've been watching that around Belton and Lee Summit. It looks pretty impressive and around Garden City, but that's just going to be a really probably 50-mile-per-hour wind maker. I'm sorry, I was looking at your radar, not mine.
No, that's okay.
And probably a 50-mile-per-hour wind maker, maybe some small hail out of this particular part of the line, but that hasn't been the worst part. It's been up here that's moving into Richmond right now and heading through Oak Grove. So we've got the tornado warning is over. The storm is moving out of the metro as we speak. The threat is really starting to weaken quite a bit. They're not going to issue anything downstream right now, so it looks like we are going to take a break. No, we're going to keep going. Okay, we're going to keep going until this completely clears the metro. So we want to make sure that this doesn't pulse up and hit Pleasant Hill or Lee Summit with some gusty winds right now. Again, I said they're probably around 50, 55 miles per hour. There's a little bit of hail right there as this is 435, this is 470. So right along 470, close to Highway 50, just to the south of Lee Summit. Watch out for a little bit of hail there. But the hail hasn't been really the issue, but it's been an indicator of when the storms pulse up a little bit because that updraft gets a little bit stronger and it can support some hail.
That's right. Thanks, Mike. I wanted to take a closer look at what's happening behind the leading edge of the storms at this point, because as we have mentioned, most of our Kansas counties are out now of that leading edge. So what is left behind is some light rain at this point. I think back towards Olathe, in between Bonner Springs, towards the I-70 to about the I-35, kind of in between that corridor right there, as you can start to see some pockets of some heavier rain, some lightning. So there is still a little bit of some thunderstorm activity back behind the leading edge overall of this line. But for the most part, once this leading edge of the line moves out, we're pretty much quiet on the backside of it, despite some light rain that may be lingering. So as we take a large look at this entire area, you can see the leading edge of the line from Lone Elm up towards Lacine, Belton, Richmond, all the way up towards Chillicothe. Heavy rain, thunder, and lightning happening with that at this point. Back behind that, if you live anywhere on the Kansas side, up towards the northeast, from Paola to Lawrence to Easton, light rain, maybe some regular thunderstorms are out there right now, but the only storm right now at this point that has a severe thunderstorm warning is portions of our Jackson County, if we take a closer look at it, as well as portions of, let's get a little bit of a wider look so we can get a little bit of an easier. It gets a little messy when we get a little bit too close. So portions of kind of eastern Clay, eastern Jackson, Lafayette, Ray counties right now, but still looks to be the heaviest part of the rain towards Wellington. Mike and I are watching still the potential to see some small hail with this as well. Overall, we have seen some reports of pea-sized hail from this line. So we know that hail is a possibility as they continue to kind of pulse up, pulse down, as they continue to move off towards the east here over the next couple of hours, but still seeing the potential to see some gusty, strong winds, as well as seeing that potential for small hail. Still at this time, there still is a possibility of some tornado spin-ups, as we still have the tornado watch for majority of us. That goes until about 4 o'clock this morning, particularly into portions of the metro down towards the southeast. However, right now, we're starting to see it get trimmed back. So that's a good sign, especially if we take a look at the northwest towards the western Kansas counties that we've got. But still at this point, we're still continuing to see that tornado watch till 4 a.m. but I do expect them to start kind of trimming it back as that line starts to move through and eventually move out of the area. That wouldn't be probably for another couple of hours. If I wanted to take a look at our future radar right now, looks like I've lost some data.
The warning was just dropped.
Okay, good news.
Yeah, so some good news. That was nice of the radar to drop when the warnings dropped. Yeah, the storms which prompted the warning have weakened below severe limits and no longer pose an immediate threat to life or property. Therefore, the warning will be allowed to expire. However, gusty winds and heavy rain still possible with these thunderstorms. So we're still looking at gusty winds possibly up to 50, 55 miles per hour. And some small hail, as you mentioned, and some torrential rain. That's, it's got to be ponding. When you look at how heavy this rain is, it's got to be ponding on the roadways everywhere. So it's just best to stay home right now. I just wanted to show you the current winds because the cold front, you can see the cold front's kind of like right here. And the winds behind it are actually going to be fast at times. That's gusts up to 35 to 45 miles per hour. So don't be surprised if you live in an area where the storms have passed through that once the cold front comes through, the winds kind of pick up a little bit again, but don't worry about it. It's just the colder air rushing in behind that cold front. It's not anything that you need to worry about damage or anything like that because, the fastest winds are going to be out here ahead of Odessa and Richmond where the actual thunderstorm is right now. But just want to let you know, it could be still quite breezy for an hour or two after the storms pass you. Just nothing to worry about.
Thanks, Mike. I do want to take a look to, if I pull this back, to kind of show you what the next couple of hours could look like. Here we are at midnight, as you can see, kind of on the eastern side. I do think this model doing a pretty good job at indicating what's going on. Overall, I think real time, probably a little bit more towards the east. So keep that in mind. But by the time we get to about 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, it's pushing off to our southeastern areas, the leading edge of that. Still some light rain probably left behind it, so keep that in mind. But really, as we go into probably about 3 o'clock, overall, that leading edge is out, and then our severe risk then, of course, is done at that point. We then will be a lot quieter as we go into our Saturday. Cloud cover there to start. However, I do think it will be a nicer day than it has been today. I wanted to take a look at how much rain some areas have seen today, as we just talked about some ponding on the roadways, especially because a lot of us saw a lot of rain this morning come out of the first round of storms that we had. The first round came in last night into this morning, and it actually lingered a little bit longer than we expected it to. It lingered around 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Some of us were still seeing rain and thunderstorm activity, which in turn did greatly diminish, now that we're past round number 2, greatly diminish the threat of supercell activity for this afternoon into this evening, and pretty much did steal some energy as we've gone into the third round as well. But still, a lot of rainfall did fall in some areas, especially from Olathe, Garnett, the southwestern side. Anywhere between about 1 to even possibly 3 inches of rain fell in portions of our southwestern areas. Overall, along and south of I-70, probably saw the greatest amount of rain, around 1.16 inches in Sedalia. And if we take a look too, I'm going to move off the screen so you can take a look, because otherwise I'd point probably in the wrong direction. But you can see clouds are moving. There's still some lightning. It looks dry though. And I'm wondering, Colin, can you tell me where that is? Okay, this is the stadium camera. So this is looking back west, right? East. Or east, okay. Looking back east, oh yes, okay, so there's Kauffman Stadium. So this is looking back east. We're seeing the storms moving out. That's why you still see lightning in the distance, a lot of it. So now that these storms are not severe, a lot of lightning, a lot of thunder. It's probably loud as well. Not only loud from the lightning and thunder, but heavy rainfall with it too. So heavy rainfall still out there as we go through the next couple of hours on the leading edge of this, but looks like the Kansas City number just updated for our rainfall total around 7/10 now, which would likely account for the severe storms we saw, that tornado warning we saw, that kind of line of storms that did move through. So close to around 7/10 of an inch for our rainfall so far. There is still some lighter rain out there, but I kind of want to take another look at, here's I-70 Grain Valley. Looks like people are moving a little bit more slow, but doesn't look as if rain is really coming down as heavy. Still lightning, still thunder. So, if if anybody is out on the roadways right now, make sure you're going slowly. Make sure you're taking it slow, especially because the heavy rainfall could cause reduced visibility as well. It could be hard to see. As we talked to Betsy as well earlier this evening, we talked to her a little bit about being in the weather tracker and what she was seeing there. And she did say that there were some pockets of some pooling on the roadways that did cause some hydroplaning for the car. And that still will be a possibility as we continue to see heavy rainfall with the kind of front edge or the leading edge of this system. So right now, if we take a look at radar overall, you can see the leading edge pushing down now just east of the I-35 corridor, moving closer to Richmond, down towards Harrisonville, down back towards our southwestern counties, but now it's pushed towards the east of I-35. I still think probably the stronger part of this line is in the corridor between Richmond and down towards Harrisonville. So pockets of some heavier rain, a lot of lightning, a lot of thunder. As Mike had mentioned, still watching the potential for some gusty winds with this, but as the cold front has been pushed through for some of us, winds are picking up on the backside of that as well. And it's probably going to drop our temperatures too, because we did make our way up into the upper 60s, some of us in the 70s this afternoon. It's going to be a little bit colder as we go into the day tomorrow. So here's how this is progressing. As you can see, heavy rain, Oak Grove, Harrisonville, up towards Gomer and Chillicothe right now. There does look to be, I should say, a little thunderstorm pocket that's starting to develop and move into portions of Overland Park, Shawnee, up towards KCK as well. We took a closer look, seeing some lightning with that. Heavier rain, a little bit of that pocket behind the main line, as I'd mentioned. I do think we still mix in probably some thunderstorms, but right now, a lot of kind of shower activities built back behind it. But right now, in the metro, the 435 loop, that's where the only thunderstorm is, kind of behind this leading edge of the thunderstorm activity we're seeing now. Mike?
All right, I'm just kind of updating some graphics here to show you that what's going on behind this system and when you can expect possibly this to be finally over. So in this area, northeast Kansas, northwest Missouri, you're fine, you're done. We're still going to hold on to 2 a.m. for this line because that line that you were just showing everybody is moving right through this area. So that's going to continue, and still 4 o'clock for most of us. I wanted to take a quick look back just real quick and show you that if you're just joining us or if you know anybody that lives in these areas, if we had a tornado, it would have been right across this line, more than likely. This is Shawnee Mission Parkway. This is the plaza right here. There's Westport. There's Westwood, Mission Hills. So 635, 35, 71. This is Kansas City on the Missouri side. And here's where 435 and 70 come together at the Truman Sports Complex. That would be, if we see any more damage, it would be more than likely across there. People may be asleep, maybe slept through it, haven't reported it yet. But if we had a tornado, that's more than likely where it would have been. Now, of course, as you've been showing, that it has moved on. And this is, what we're dealing with now is strong thunderstorms that are going to continue to bring heavy rain and small hail. They're not quite out of the metro yet, especially this area, but it's moving right over the National Weather Service. And this is probably where the secondary elevated storms, you don't have to worry about those because these are along the cold front. Once you get back into the colder air, they're too high in the sky, they're elevated, they're not tapping into any too much of the way of warm moisture. They're definitely not tapping into some of the spinning that is happening in the lower levels of the atmosphere. So, we're getting pretty close, hopefully, to seeing the end of this. Of course, we still got this area, but this was worked over before. If you remember, this whole area around 8, 9, 10 o'clock had severe weather roll through it. It probably hasn't had time to recover. But anytime a cold front moves in, that's the wedge of cold air that just drives into that warm, moist air and manually lifts it. You could have something, but that's maybe why we're seeing just a little bit right here around Harrison and Archie, because that area was barely touched. But this area, Holden, Warrensburg, all the way over towards Windsor and Clinton, that area may be worked over. We may be seeing the beginning of this bottom section, hopefully, kind of fall apart. But this area, maybe around Carrollton, Higginsville, still not touched yet.
Yeah, Mike, I was just about to say the same thing too. Some of it's looking a lot less organized than it once was as it moved through kind of the I-35 corridor at that point a couple of hours ago. But now we're starting to see it maybe lose a little bit of formation. And by formation, I mean more of that kind of linear line. When we think about a solid line, I'm thinking more of, just kind of straight down the line, more of that darker red, as well as more of that yellow. So now it's getting a little bit more messy. As Mike had mentioned, kind of on the backside, some showers are out there. The cold front is moved in, and I did take a look at our temperatures, and they are very different in some spots. It is 40 degrees. If I could get this to load.
Oh, you can hear that line of showers that
Yes.
are moving through Kansas City, hitting us right here.
Yes, and I think this was looking at our tower cam, so I think this is also we're seeing that, but it's looking towards the east on One Park Place. But it is 40 degrees in St. Joseph. It's 63 in Kansas City right now. So the cold front has moved through, of course, our northwestern areas. Now there's some light rain showers back on the backside of that, but
There it is.
and there's the showers that are outside our station. We're hearing it here on the ceiling at this point.
At least we're not hearing the sirens this time.
Yes.
Thank goodness.
Yes. So, but no, heavy rain. I mean, still, this is that kind of pocket of a thunderstorm that has built in there a little bit, kind of on the backside, as we had mentioned. But I still think that, there is some lightning still out there in the kind of lighter green colors, especially, right now, though, as I'd mentioned, because we're here in Fairway, that's right over here. So we're looking at more of that thunderstorm activity here for us that you could see on that camera on the bottom side of your screen. Still pockets of heavy rain are mixed in here. You can still see also there looks to be maybe a little bit of ponding on the roadway. And a little bit of that rain is being moved by the wind as well.
That's a good call.
Yeah.
I mean, we already just got pounded, an hour ago with a bunch of rain?
Heavy rain, yep.
Yeah. It's amazing to see how many people are out at 12:37. It is Friday night.
It is Friday night,
But
yeah.
it's amazing to see how many people are out still.
And if you were watching with us earlier when we were, talking about the tornado warning, this looks very different than it looked
Good point.
when the tornado warned storm was going through the area, especially if we were looking at the winds. We have a flag outside. It was whipping around, not quite doing the same thing right now. And it looks like we've also got Betsy too, somewhere on the roadways in the First Warn 5 weather tracker. And she's on I-35, or so we think. So still seeing heavy rain. You could totally see too the wet roadways. And as Mike had mentioned, there is a lot of people that are out right there on the highway right now at just after 12:30. So ponding on the roadways will be a possibility. We've seen heavy rainfall. We're going to continue to see some heavy rainfall, especially right now here in the metro, because we've got that kind of thunderstorm activity still going through. But as we take a wider look, more of the thunderstorm activity is east now, especially starting to push out of the metro and kind of get more towards our eastern counties, especially as we look towards Hardin, Oak Grove, still seeing heavy rain, Odessa, Bates City, Wellington. You see the lightning strikes popping up too. So heavy rain, lightning, thunder with this down towards Lake Lottawada as well. And then as we continue to move south, we are still looking at Pleasant Hill, which is where our radar site is. East Lane, down towards Garden City, and that's kind of the end of that line, but it does still try to build back towards Blue Mound too. So right now, these storms are moving and grooving pretty quickly. They were moving around anywhere between 50 to 60 miles per hour, so we're going to continue to see them move pretty quickly as we go into probably the next 3 hours or so, probably wrapping up out of our area. As Mike had mentioned, he had a graphic showing that when it was going to wrap up. So here's a look at radar right now. I'm going to track this out for you, show where we're going, what's going to be happening here over the next couple of hours. And as we get closer to around 1 o'clock in the morning, pushing off towards the southeast, it's 3 o'clock a.m., almost out of the area. And then eventually we're cleared by the time we get to about 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. So as we continue to go through the night, there is still that possibility for a stronger storm to develop. But as Mike and I had mentioned, the atmosphere towards the southeastern areas has been overworked over the last couple of hours. Something we're going to continue to watch. Myself and Mike will continue to be here as we go into the next couple of hours, as well as our Stevie Stevenson. But I wanted to get a closer look at the 7-day because there is quieter conditions coming. So no, by tomorrow it's cooler, but it's pleasant. The sun comes back out for the first time in like 5-6 days at this point. Right. Yeah, 54 for your Sunday. Now I'm thinking too, I forgot we're past midnight.
Oh.
So our graphics did shift to different days.
I will fix that.
Okay, so tomorrow we are, well, I will say this. The temperatures are correct. The days are a little bit wrong. So tomorrow will be 54. By Sunday we'll be in the upper 60s. I think I should probably use the morning 7-day.
Yeah, the AM?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can see. Okay. This needs to be updated too. But what I am going to let you know is that things are quieter by the time we get to tomorrow morning.
Sorry.
It's going to be cooler. Mike, are you trying to fix it?
No, something else happened.
Okay.
It's all you.
Okay. Well, let's just ignore right now the icons that are on there. So we'll go by days here. Mid 50s for your Saturday, upper 60s on Sunday. Keep in mind we will jump ahead an hour for Sunday. That means later sunset, 7:17, and then we will see, unfortunately, a loss of hours sleep. Tuesday is when we're going to have our next first warn. That is our next potential to see strong to severe storms, and then eventually we should be dry as we head after that. So that's the latest we've got for you this evening. Mike and I, as I mentioned, are going to continue to be here, continue to watch these rain and thunderstorm activity as we continue to watch, but we'll be sure to keep you updated. If anything changes, we'll send you back to programming.